Hi, my name is Tucker Laveroni.
Hey, little Benny.
Hi, my name is Brandon Warren.
We did Mapp versus Ohio.
In the case of Mapp versus Ohio, it first began in 1957 when a young African-American single mother in her 30s named Dolly, also known as Dolly Mapp, was arrested on May 23, 1957 in the state of Ohio and in the city of Cleveland. She was arrested for the possession of obscene materials. Dolly Mapp was also known as the Rosa Parks of the Fourth Amendment. When the police bursted into her residence and searched all the rooms of her home, they found a nude sketchbook and 4 other books that were classified as obscene materials and pornographic materials. The obscene material found by the police was claimed by Mapp to be owned by a former roommate of hers. When the police arrested her, she was charged with a felony. After she was arrested, she was convicted in her original court case for up to 7 years in prison. In the original case, the jury only took 20 minutes to convict her. When her case finally made it to the Supreme Court, the case began on March 29, 1961, and was decided on June 19, 1961. The Supreme Court case of Mapp versus Ohio would change the face of the U.S. judicial system and many cases after that in history.
In the case of Mapp versus Ohio, a wave of other cases were being retried because of the use of unreasonable search and seizures and the use of false evidence in court. From this case, the judge has to throw out evidence obtained because it violates the Fourth Amendment. Also, an amicus curiae brief was submitted October 26, 1959. It argued 3 main points. The first point is that because of the anti-obscenity statute, the due process clause of the 14th Amendment was violated. The second point is that the statute interfered with privacy rights under the 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendment. Finally, the third point is that the statute violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Mapp also petitioned a writ of certiorari to the Supreme Court from the Court of Ohio. It was then picked up by the Supreme Court of the United States. The Solicitor General played a role for the side of Ohio in this case. This case strengthened the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable searches and seizures by making it illegal for evidence obtained by law enforcement without a valid warrant to be used in criminal trials in both federal and state courts. Prior to this case, the Fourth Amendment was very vague, and the scope of the Fourth Amendment had been subject to interpretation by the courts. The oral arguments of the case were that the Fourth Amendment prohibited against unreasonable searches and seizures, and that from the 14th Amendment, courts must exclude unconstitutionally obtained evidence in criminal prosecutions.
On May 23, 1957, a man was suspected in a bombing nearby. He ran from the police, and they suspected that the 34-year-old Dolly Mapp was hiding him. The police tried to get in without a warrant, but Mapp would not let them in. They left and came back a few hours later with a piece of paper, which they would not let her read. When Mapp took the paper and put it in her pocket, the police reached in her pocket and took it back from her. The officers then forced themselves into her home and tore up her house, searching for the man or anything that they could find to get Mapp in trouble. After the police searched her whole home, including her baby daughter's room, they found a notebook with pornographic drawings, which they saw as obscene material, and Mapp was arrested on obscenity charges. Mapp claimed that the drawings belonged to the previous boarder of the home. Mapp went to district court trying to be found innocent and to be able to go home. After a short deliberation, Mapp was found guilty. Later, Mapp was granted an appeal and got the opportunity to appear in appellate court in front of this Ohio Supreme Court. Unfortunately, Mapp lost her second battle with injustice, and despite the unlawful search and seizure of her home, the verdict was upheld. In 1961, the United States Supreme Court took the case due to its questions of the Fourth Amendment and obscenity in the First Amendment. In her third and final attempt at justice, Mapp won the case. The opinion of the court was very neutral throughout the trial, but ultimately the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 in favor of Mapp and overturned her conviction. Justices Warren, Black, Douglas, Clark, Brennan, and Stewart were in the concurring opinion of the Supreme Court, meaning they ruled in favor of Mapp. Frankfurter, Harlan, and Whitaker were in the dissenting opinion because they voted in favor of Ohio, which was the minority opinion in this case. The law clerk helped the justices with past research of the case so that they could make the correct decision. So,
That
Was
our
project
on
Mapp.
versus
Ohio.
Thank.
for
Watching.
Hope.
you.
Enjoy.